Customs and traditions must not destroy us, but help us. Traditions must not break us, but make us. Customs should make us better neighbors and global citizens. Traditions should not set us on the path to self-destruction. In fact, culture is and should be dynamic, and culture should work for us. That is what Jesus meant by the Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath. So whatever rules, whatever customs, whatever traditions we have should serve our purpose, should serve our interests, should move us forward, should bring change, should bring positive development, and not the other way around. So if there are traditions that are not helpful, I believe we should get rid of them if they are not helping us. So as we start this conversation, let us be open-minded. Let us make a choice to dispassionately delve into our culture and re-examine them. It is in unlearning and relearning that we actually learn. And I believe there are better ways of viewing our world. So let's avail ourselves of all these wider perspectives this morning as we come to discuss our culture, the beautiful Ghanaian culture, and the quest for women and girls' rights. But on this note, I want to welcome all of us to a beautiful discussion, and I wish you a momentous moment. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, he deserves a round of applause. He deserves a round of applause. It's amazing how Dr. Boo has almost become a priest this morning. Yes, and with the scriptures and everything that he's quoting. Hallelujah. I don't know, you know, I'll cover. As we move on, ladies and gentlemen, we will welcome Professor Asamoah to give us the welcome address for this morning's program. A round of applause for Professor Asamoah. He is also the Professor.
Good morning to everyone gathered here. I am here this morning and I'm representing the Vice Chancellor of this university. He would have wished to be here, but for some equally important assignments, he couldn't come. But I believe that he is here with us in many ways. My purpose this morning is to welcome all of us to this great university and to this function. Distinguished and eminent chiefs, Queen Mothers of our dear nation, Ghana, distinguished United Nations Residence Coordinator, distinguished country rep and staff of the United Nations Population Fund, representatives of other United Nations bodies, representative from the Ghana Bar Association, of which I'm a member, distinguished ambassadors and high commissioners of various nations here present, members of the legal fraternity, Amnesty International, NGOs, civil society groups, advocates, media, and I think it's appropriate to say that I will observe all protocols established present and in the few moments that will be here. On behalf of the Vice Chancellor and the rest of the management team, I welcome you to the University of Professional Studies, Accra. And in our university, we are committed on scaling the heights of academia in all spheres and dimensions of society, whilst at the same time impacting on our immediate surroundings, the country at large, Africa, and the rest of the world. As a university, we recognize the unique role that the chieftaincy institution plays in the development of our nation. if you look at the Constitution of Ghana, Article 270 of the 1992 Constitution, 271 says that the institution of chieftaincy, together with its traditional councils, as established by customary law and usage, is hereby guaranteed. This, in essence, means that there is a unique role that the chieftaincy institution plays in the development of the nation. And as a university, we recognize this role, we acknowledge it, and we'll do everything possible to reinforce the place that our chieftaincy institutions and culture, for that matter, plays in the development of our nation. We are delighted to be holding this landmark seminar on the Ghanaian culture and the quest for women and children's rights. As a forward-thinking university, we are devoted to embracing and disseminating new knowledge and new perspectives on life that will make the world a better place. In view of this, UPSA's establishment of the Otumfuo Centre for Traditional Leadership recognizes the unique role traditional leadership and culture plays in the development of our nation. And the collaboration between the Otumfuo Centre for Traditional Leadership and the UNFPA, and we appreciate this collaboration, and we believe that it's not going to be an event which will happen today and will not happen again. We believe that this is a partnership that is going to continue for years to come. And this collaboration has actually initiated the first of many seminars to discuss the beauty of our culture and its contextual relevance in modern and globally accepted standards of living, as well as the UN Conventions on Rights. And when you read the Bill of Rights, there is a significant mention of women and children's rights, as well as other rights, as far as it lies within the socio-economic and cultural rights of the UN Convention of Rights. This particular seminar, which focuses on finding the symmetry as well as the divergence between our culture and women and children's rights, will rouse critical rethink on our culture and how we can make it better serve the interests of Ghanaians and global citizens through the lens of women and children's rights. This topic, we believe, is very, very important and timely, and is indeed a major contributor towards the advancement of society. It is my belief that by the end of this seminar, a clear path towards a synchronization of our culture with the exigencies of our times will have been found, and our country will be the ultimate beneficiary of it all. On this note, I welcome warmly each and every one of you to this August seminar, and I pray that you have a momentous time discussing and diverging into the issues hereby presented. Ladies and gentlemen, you are warmly welcome to the University of Professional Studies. I wish you well as we go through the deliberations. Thank you very much, and God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Professor Asamoah, who is the Dean of the IT and Communication Studies Department here at the University of Professional Studies. And it is evident in the way he spoke and in the way he delivered that, yes, he's a communication expert. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Doc again. Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you very much, Professor Asamoah. We welcome the cultural troupe to lead us in our next session. for them, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Once again, to the cultural team for such a display. Thank you very much. We move on with this program. It is time for a video presentation, ladies and gentlemen, by Oasis. Oasis. So with a round of applause, we welcome Oasis as they come and lead us in today's presentation. A round of applause for them, please. Thank you, Dr. Frederick. And thank you to the Otumfuo Centre for Traditional Leadership for this honor of participating in today's potent conversation. My name is Kofi Safo Boache, and you guessed it right, of Otumfuo. But I stand today because I specialize in using to make a difference, and I consult for Race and Oasis, which is a Senegalese NGO known as the Network for African Health Education and Citizenship, which I'm sure is the reason why we all find ourselves here. So we are going to play a video which is just 2 minutes, and after the video I will open the floor for our conversations to begin. Thank you. Thank you for taking our time and following the video with us. From the video we just watched, Aminata is 15 years old and married. Is it child marriage? So what makes it child marriage, if I may ask? That's right. According to our constitution as Ghanaians, a person is considered underage if the person is below 18 years, and Aminatu here is 15 years, which makes it a child marriage. So our next question is, what might have made Aminata be involved in such a child marriage activity? Let's explore her family. What might have caused Aminata to get herself into this situation is the question. We can explore her family and her background and brainstorm. We are here to learn from our elders. So, Nana, what might have caused this act?
Okay, I can sit and address. Okay. Good morning. Name, Nana Humanum. Mubiachi Wajima Brown. My name is Nana Gentima Mako the 10th, Hunter Traditional Area in the Western region. Well, the video.
Yeah.
Yes. So marrying your daughter to someone she doesn't know, it's quite a troubling situation. And does it exist? Yes, it used to be the case. Our culture, as far as marriage is concerned, in ancient times, on the immediate past, we find situations like that. The motive for that may be financial. You find this village guy who's become the chief farmer, who's got some cash. So, at the poverty level, the parents will say, our child is of age. They will not go 15 with the constitution say whatever. Once the child has more or less past menstruation, she's due for marriage, regardless of the age. So he'll be betrothed to this village chief farmer who has some money. And then the whole thing starts, and the trauma that the child will go through is what we are seeing. So I think with time, this thing has evolved, and I can say in this modern time, it is gradually going away, dying away. More so when it has been criminalized that if you betrothed your underage daughter in a marriage, it becomes criminal. I think the process or the act is being put in check, and therefore in the near future we will not be hearing and seeing such horrific situations. That's it.
Thank you, Nana. Yes, poverty is a common answer to this question that I asked. Families mostly give out their daughters into marriage at a tender age, thinking that is going to solve their financial problems, but in the long run, it goes against them. For this reason, when a child enters into child marriage, she is likely to drop out from school. Her education is cut short, and we all agree that while a girl child, her level of education grows, her opportunities grows along. Her opportunities grows along, and when her opportunities grows along, she is well to go to cater for herself and for her family. And when this goes on, it just creates a vicious cycle of poverty in the family, handed over from generation to generation, which is not good. So, Nana, we all agree with your answer. And thank you all for your time as we go on.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think the issue of yes, thank you. We move on, ladies and gentlemen. The issue of child marriage is actually a big problem, not only in Ghana, but also in other African countries as well. When I see all the Queen Mothers here, if any of them was given out into marriage at that very young age, I don't think we would have had such amazing women here. So it's something that we really, really have to deal with as a nation. As we move on, ladies and gentlemen, welcome from the UNFPA,
Thank you very much. So we have the Country Director for UNFPA, Dr. Frederick Ochan. Dr. Wilfred Ochan from UNFPA.
Thank you. Thank you very much. the Royal MC, Queen Boresha. Hello, hello? Hello, do you hear me well?
Hello.
Hello, hello. Thank you very much, Royal MC. Representative of the Vice Chancellor, University of Professional Studies, Accra. Traditional chiefs, Queen Mothers, and other traditional leaders present. The Chief Director of the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. Development partners present here. Representatives of non-governmental organizations, the media, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to join you this beautiful morning as we deliberate on the subject of the role of culture and the quest for women's rights. Indeed, this is a very important debate or dialogue. Hello? Hello? Indeed, this is a very important debate because within it, we continue to examine the progressive role of culture in promoting women's rights and development in general. The dialogue is taking place at an opportune time because of the urgent need for improving the social and economic well-being of women and girls, the significant 50% of our population, who are essential for development if we are to accelerate our progress to achieve the sustainable development goals. And it is also for this reason that UNFPA is working with traditional leaders over the years to find solutions to some of the pressing challenges. UNFPA works with its partners at the community level to create awareness of issues of ending preventable maternal death. No woman should die in the process of giving life. We also work to ensure that every pregnancy is wanted, and to end gender-based violence and harmful practices, including child marriage and female genital mutilation. In doing this, we work closely with chiefs, and our partners work closely with chiefs and queen mothers in their communities. Many of our supported projects emphasize the role of traditional leaders, and they are culturally sensitive in approaches. In 2005, UNFPA and UN Women partnered with the traditional and faith leaders in Ghana to address gender-based violence, helping shift the underlying power structures and end harmful practices and transform some of the cultural norms surrounding violence against women. While these are being done at the community level, there are also efforts at regional and national level with the same agenda. The UN, led by UNFPA, collaborated with traditional leaders in Africa to celebrate the first International Day of the Girl Child in 2012, which resulted in the formation of African Queen and Women Cultural Leaders Network as an advocacy network, well recognized and used now by Africa Union and UN to take up championship and advocate to improve the lives of women and girls across the continent. In 2022, last year, the previous year, UNFPA paid an advocacy visit to His Royal Majesty Otumfuo Centre II, Asantehene and Nana Konadu Yadom III, the Queen Mother, Asante Hema in Kumasi. The visit was necessary as the Ashanti region is still witnessing gender-based violence, including those affecting the girl child. The visit was to galvanize support for His Royal Majesty Otumfuo II Asantehene in the fight against gender-based violence and harmful practices, including child marriage, and specifically update him on the situation of adolescent pregnancy in the region, and encourage traditional leaders to commit to ending child marriage in their areas through provision of traditional laws within their jurisdiction. The Asantehene amplified his commitment to raising awareness and addressing factors that hold girls in Ashanti region back. He pledged to specifically task and back his wife, Lady Julia Osei Tutu, to take up the issues of teenage pregnancy and child marriage as a project in the Ashanti region. In 2023, UNFPA also began a structured partnership with the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, knowing their mandate and the role with traditional leaders. Together with the ministry and Obapa Foundation, with my friend seated here, 3 paramount chiefs, including Osei Adza Tekpo VII, who is here with us today, publicly declaring their commitment to end child marriage and other harmful practices. The others were the Ogua and the Akwamu traditional areas. Distinguished invited guests, today we are here as part of our partnership with the academia to ensure that the training curricular programs that are being conducted by University of Professional Studies integrate critical issues for the development of the kingdoms, including empowerment of women and girls, support for human rights, inclusion, and other related issues that will address the underlying harmful practices in our communities. We'd like to work with our traditional leaders to co-create solutions that are right-based and that uplift our communities. We have also initiated a move to map or to catalog traditional norms and practices and work with the appropriate authorities to reinforce positive ones while we work together to modify or discard the harmful ones. UNFPA UNICEF Global Program to End Child Marriage is here to support such work and will continue partnering with you to just do that. I hope that together we can partner using our various roles to have a Ghana that is fully embracing gender equality and women empowerment, that address harmful customary practices, that support women and youth representation in leadership and decision-making structures at all levels. These sets of action require a multifaceted approach that respect Ghanaian culture while advancing women's rights through legal reforms, education, economic empowerment, and changing societal attitudes and norms. It requires a wide range of stakeholders in strong partnership and collaboration to achieve our results. Traditional leaders can leverage their cultural authority and community standing to significantly advance women's rights, gender equality and empowerment, and create more inclusive societies. They can conduct advocacy and awareness creation, including community dialogues. They can influence policies, even at national level, when they raise their voice to address such vices. They can support women initiatives. They can challenge harmful practices. They can promote education and training of the girls. And they can become role models in treating women with respect and fairness in their interactions and decisions. And they can seek partnerships with other organizations, including the UN system, to support your work. I thank you, I welcome you for the conversation, and I wish you fruitful deliberation. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think Dr. Ochen deserves a better round of applause. A better round of applause. For me, he has highlighted the importance of chieftaincy in dealing with the issues of child pregnancy in Africa and the role that our chiefs can play to be able to make sure that these things are addressed. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Ochen. Thank you very much for your submission. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll move on. And next on the bill, we have our interactive or our panel session, ladies and gentlemen. And to introduce our panel for this special occasion, we have Nkiliwiyochi Borisa Idrisa, the first Yabon of Gunja Kingdom from the Savannah region, to introduce our panel this morning. A round of applause for her as she comes. A round of applause for her.
He has admitted that he has butchered my name, so he's forgiven. Thank you very much. My name is Nkiliwiyochi Boresa Idisa Jidwa I from the Great Yagbon Gonja Kingdom in the Savannah region, and I am the Executive Director of the Boresa Royal Foundation, and we are partnering the center for this all-important event. I'm happy to be here again. As an alumnus of the center, we were the first batch of graduates from the center. It's a pleasure to be back here again to engage our chiefs, our queen mothers, and other stakeholders to discuss issues of gender when it comes to our girl child. Togio, mama, biro bi ni me nane, modo we zona ni akata, ibibia akwaba. So now there's been a lot of formality. I want us to be a little bit relaxed now. We are at the core of why we are here this morning, to see how best we can deliberate as traditional authority and put our women and girls right in perspective. Let me do a few acknowledgements before I call the panel to take over. I want to acknowledge the presence of representing the Ministry of Chieftaincy, representing Dolua, we have Mr. Muni representing the Dolua. Please, we are here, let's see you. You are welcome, you are welcome. Let me also again welcome my friends from Kofi Annan International Peace Training Center. We have students of gender. In fact, they are leading the gender. They want to know what the rights of girls and women are, and they are here with us. They are master students offering gender. My friends who are here, thank you for coming to support me. Thank you very much. You are all welcome. I also want to welcome a very unique Queen Mother Association group here, which is called the Unity Queens Network. If you are not part of us after this event, see me, let's see how best we can add you. So it's a group of development-oriented queen mothers who don't just go grace occasions, but queen mothers who are poised for action, poised to see changes in their communities. So we are doing advocacy on teenage pregnancy, on child marriage, on SIHR, and a lot of issues. Our president is here, I'll introduce her in due course. And all other chiefs, all students here. No. But all the students from all the students of the Otumfuo Centre for Traditional Leadership, you are all welcome. Please, when you leave here, talk to your friends, their colleague chiefs and queen mothers. There's a very good center initiative. And some of us, it helped us so much to join the program. It's in 3 phases, 3 sessions. After the 3rd session, you graduate with a diploma in chieftaincy and traditional leadership. So let's encourage all our chiefs and our queen mothers to participate in this program. So let me quickly go together ahead to call our panel to take their seats. And to start with, we have So I spoke about Unity Queens Network. So there's this very important dynamic international woman sexy refuse to go woman queen mother. She's here. She's called Obapa Ajwa Encha Awendo. She is the Nkosohima of Ifija Kwabre in the Ashanti region. She's popularly known as Nana Ajwa Awendo of Greetings from Abroad fame. Before Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, before you see your friend who has gone to the US, if you don't watch that program, you never see that your friend. She was the face of the diaspora, and she's been so instrumental. And ever since she's made a queen mother, she's been very pivotal in advancing the rights of women and girls. So it's very imperative to have her on our panel, giving honor to whom honor is due. You can't stand up. Please give her PR as I welcome Nana Hima Ajwa Awendo. Oh, no, say if you are clapping, clap. Queen Mother's chiefs, please, let's give her PR. Give PR. Thank you very much. This woman, I won't say anything. When you call her, she will answer. When you call her, she doesn't sleep. Call her 2 a.m. She will answer. I won't talk much, but she has been a mother, she has been a mentor. And if I'm calling her, I'm talking like, please, it's because of her, she has been training me. Also, we have Nana Awoba. Nana Awoba will also join us on the panel. Nana Awoba happens to be a student at OCTL, currently with you. And he's going to join us, have this all-important discussion. He is the chief of Enyinaso in the Ashanti region. Okay, to give us some legal perspective to this entire discussion, we have a very big woman here. She is a lawyer first and foremost, and she's here to represent the Federation of Women Lawyers and the Ghana Bar Association Women's Forum. Help me welcome the lawyer with the longest name. If you meet her in court as your colleague lawyer, before you mention her name, the case has closed. Help me welcome lawyer Peace Kezia Kenneth Azuma. Okay, so also another, we also have one of our child marriage advocates, very instrumental chief, who is Nana Eja Kobina, the 11th chief of Aprendo in the Western region. Put your hands together for Nana Eja Kobina, the 11th. Chief of Aprendo in the Western region, who is a child marriage advocate. So we can have this discussion without bringing on board government agencies. So to help us with this discussion, it's a very dynamic woman. Please, I have mothers, I have mentors. If you are a young person, please get mentors, get mothers who train and groom you. And there is a phenomenon that your mentors have to be calling you. Please, they won't call you. They won't check on you. They are busy. Make yourself available. You should check on them. What can you do for your mentor? If you are available, they'll be available for you. I call them anytime and they pick my call. And it's an honor to have my old mother here. I call her anytime she takes my call because I am available. Help me welcome Dr. This money, Dr. Afisa Zakaria. She is the Chief Director of the Ministry of Gender, Children, and Social Protection. Welcome, Doc. As you see her so fine, so like that. Doctor is a multilingual woman. She speaks French, English, Spanish, Russian, name it. She's a Cuban-trained medical doctor. And she's a proud and beautiful wife of the National Ambulance Director, Dr. Professor Nuhu Zakaria. She's a dynamic woman. I love her so much. I love her. She's a dynamic woman. And to add a young person's perspective to our discussion, we have a young person, not a student, but a gender advocate too. She's an SRHR specialist. We want to hear from the youth what is their take on this entire discussion. So we're having SNM Amuzu would help us. So SNM is joining us here. Okay. Our panel is set, so we have to pause with the questions from the OSs because there's a section for Q&As where you have the chance to ask all the questions, and our panelists who are here to help us delve deeper and see what are the next steps this shouldn't be a forum that we just end in a discussion. But after here, we have traditional authority here, all over here. What are we going to do to help end child marriage in our various communities? So we are starting our discussion very soon. I take my seat, but let me also acknowledge all queens from Unity Queens Network. Can you give me a wave? Unity Queens Network, they are here. And permit me introduce just two Paramount Queen Mothers. We have the Paramount Queen Mother of Ada, Nana, Dumale, Kabuko, Vovolia. Put us together for Nana, Paramount Queen Mother of Ada. We also have the Paramount Queen Mother of Sokwe, traditional area in the Volta region. Mamaga Ajesu Avovolia. Please, she's small, but she's a big. She has over 36 Queen Mothers under her. She's a big woman. We are raising.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Your name is too powerful, so I don't think I'll mention your name again. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I also want to acknowledge the presence of a few partners and a few dignitaries present here. Dr. Bapa Jemfi is here. He's the former director of the Otumfuo Centre here at UPSA. He's on retirement. Welcome. Thank you for coming around, Doctor. Thank you so much for coming around. I have Dr. Bolivia Zakaria, Chairman of the Steering Committee for Tradition and Religion and Ministry of Chieftaincy. If you're here, please let us acknowledge you. Doctor is also here. And I have Marilyn Eku, Executive and Governance Officer, Amnesty International. She's also here. Please let us see and acknowledge your presence. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. As the program goes on, we'll introduce a few more dignitaries as they come. Thank you very much.
So this mic is Thank you very much. So we are zooming into our discussion, and there are gallant men and women and chiefs here to help us understand the issue of child marriage. When you ask, is there anything like child marriage? I don't know. When you hear the legal context of child marriage, when you hear the traditional context of child marriage, per our tradition, is there anything called child marriage? I am from the Savannah region, and okay, I'll share my thoughts now. So we're going to zoom now to the traditional or cultural perspective of child marriage. I want to pose this question to my chiefs here first, and then we'll go to our legal persons as well. So I'll start with Nana Ija Kobina, the 11th Chief of Aprembo in the Western region. Nana? Akwaba?
Yeah, media.
Not to Kwaba. But Akwaba. So in a traditional or cultural context, is there anything like child marriage? And at this juncture, I want us, the discussion is going to be very interactional, so be free and willing to speak in the local dialect. Any language you are comfortable with. We won't have a proper discussion on this issue and put this issue to an end once and for all. Atando Bobo, Upakatri, Wano Rega, hello, Finti Mavi Banamale, and Asankusu.
Good morning once again. Nana Ijabukina, the 11th Chief of Apramodo, Takrade in the Western region. I'm also a student here, a student from the OCT here, in my 3rd year. So I'm here to receive my diploma certificate, and I will leave.
and also become an alumnus.
He's a graduate and a graduate.
Well, as you said, there's a child marriage. If there isn't any child marriage, like the Constitution wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have been instituted in the Constitution, the Ghana Constitution, the 1992 Constitution. So child marriage is anything, any marriage that is below the age of 18 years. That is what the Ghana Constitution is telling us. So anything below the age of 18 years is child marriage. And with that one too, I think young people below the age of 18 years, it's also termed as child marriage. So to my knowledge, there's child marriage, yeah.
Okay, so I'll go to Nana Awuba, the second chief of Eminasu in the Ashanti region. Let me get his perspective on child marriage. In the cultural context, is there anything like child marriage? In our culture, per our cultural norms as a people, do we have child marriage? Yes or no?
Good morning, Chief, and Queen Mothers. Also, up to go there because you've already introduced all of them to us, so we know positions. And big thanks goes to Otumfuo Centre, the second Royal Highness, in collaboration with UNFPA. Hello. Yeah, there's a child marriage according to the Constitution. Below is both. It doesn't go with gender. It doesn't go with only women when we talk. We always pretend it's women. It's both men and women. My point of view, if you are under 18 years, according to the Constitution, it's considered as child marriage. And what I would discuss right now is the reason why we are deviating from all the trouble that we are encountering is, I personally, my view is human right involvement. Because anything you do, they say, I have my right, I have my right, I have my right. It's my human right. The human right needs to support the traditional leaders in collaboration with us to deal with this situation. We are following the Westerners. We have to believe in our culture. First of all, before you get married, in our culture, you need the parents have to get involved first. But what are we doing now? As a man, if you find someone to be married or not, you have to consult your father or both parents. And they will ask you first, are you ready to get married, my son or my daughter? Are you ready? Especially the son. And you have to show your father the type of house that you are going in to marry. The lady, where the location, the lady or the woman. Your father will sit you down and tell you about, because he knows much about the town. There are some houses you don't need to go and marry in. Your dad will tell you. But what are we seeing now? Your son will ask you, why that I can't marry? I have my right. I have my human right to go anywhere and do whatever I want. But at the end of the day, your child will come to you, Dad, I regretted marrying this girl. What do you expect from the parents? First of all, your dad will tell you the reason why you have to always ask questions. Find out that why can't I marry this woman? There are some houses that you cannot go in. Either some of them, they are thieves, sickness, murderers. It's a lot. If you don't listen to your dad and you go in, Believe me, if you have 5 kids, children, one of them or 2, it could be more. It will get to them.
Okay, I think that's a wonderful perspective. But to bring this entire discussion into context, okay, let me just give an overview. So, I started earlier by saying when you come to where I come from, in the Savannah region, and Northern region at large, okay? When you are born as a young girl, you are betrothed to a man. Usually these are wealthy men who in time past had cattle, they had farms. In other jurisdictions, these people are in the family or with the family, and these are wealthy people. And there's a saying that for the wealth of the family to go out, so amongst us, it could be the same family. When a child, your auntie gives birth to a child, that auntie's child is supposed to marry the rich grandfather who's already in the family. So the wealth of the family doesn't go out of the family. That's one perspective. Others have cattle. So we need children to go help us on the farm. There's an old man who has a lot of money, but he has no wives, or he has no children, or his wives are old. They want a fresh blood who come and have fresher or younger children to help him on the farm. And in our cultural context, where then school was not very, the girl child's place in education or in schooling was when you get to the background, so girls don't go to school. So as a young girl, what are you doing at home? Once you are 10, once you are 11, once the baby stands are coming, they push you into marriage. Traditionally, they wouldn't call that child marriage. You marry anyway because your place is the kitchen. My gender people are here. It's the kitchen. So whether you go earlier or later in life, it is neither here or there. So that was what our people practiced in time past. Nanajo Arindo, I'm back to you. Why did our people practice early child marriage in the past? Practicing it, yes.
Okay, so since this is the first time I'm speaking, good morning, Ananum, good morning, directors from UNFPA. I saw that some students joined us. You are most welcome. All other protocols duly observed. Thank you very much, UNFPA and UPSA, for this amazing conversation. It is very timely. It's very important that we have such conversations often. First of all, to educate ourselves before we as change makers, change agents, as leaders, as advocates, we can prepare to launch out into the field. Because how do you give out what you don't have? So we need to have the information, the education first before we step out. So this is very, very timely. Why were our forefathers practicing child marriage? I don't believe that they used to call it child marriage. They saw it as a way to protect the girls. That is what they thought. And it's not even far-fetched. Just last year when we were having our end child marriage programs, and during the capacity building time, one of the chiefs said it, that in their community, they established within their community that every girl that is impregnated by a man who is less in terms of age, and of course, we're talking about a child, and we all know who a child is. In Ghana, Constitution says a child is anybody beyond 18 years. And, below 18 years. And what is marriage anyway? Marriage should be between two consenting. Please, the word is consenting adults. So if our forefathers were pre-arranging marriages for our children or the children of those years, those were not marriages because it was never between two consenting adults. The people getting into the marriage themselves have to consent before they talk to their parents to guard them, to guide them, to support them into the journey. That is when Ohene said, your parents will even go to the other side and research to know whether the family you are going in is worth associating ourselves with. Because there are some families you dare not go. You understand? So parents were the ones pre-arranging those marriages, those years. And according to what we have learned, their only aim those days was to protect the girl so she doesn't go somewhere else they wouldn't want her to go. So they would pre-arrange and give the person to whoever they think should marry from their family. That was the first one. The second one was that those days we were respecting the puberty rights of passage. And so when the girl gets through puberty, those days, it is not all the time that the child would be 18 years, but they could do puberty rights, you know, depot these days, even in the Krobo land. The girls are very tiny, da 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 da. Then they will pass them through the, Awo, you are there. Thank you. You know, they do the process for them. But people saw those days as if the moment you do the passage of the rites, you are ready for marriage. No, it never meant that when you have your period, you are ready for marriage. Now children are having period at 10 years. 9. Isn't it? We have some teenage mothers now, 11, 12. Teenage mothers, so, yeah? So they were trying to protect these happenings. And that is why they used to give the girls out in marriage. But the system is dynamic. Culture is dynamic. Education is paramount. We learn as we grow. And as at now, there's so much information out there. And I'm very excited that it is our traditional leadership and the religious leaders who have taken this bold step to stand in the gap for our children so that we all help to curb child marriage in Ghana, Africa, and the world at large. Thank you.
Thank you, Nana. One of them. And it looks like our chiefs and queen mothers are well vexed in the constitution that well, a lawyer, that they are taking it from me. So I want to go to our legal person here. She's representing the Federation of Women Lawyers and the Ghana Bar Association Women's Forum. Before I come to you, let me recount this incident. I remember about 2 years ago, I had to call on Nana in the middle of the night to go rescue a young girl then who had been given in marriage, and she was willing to go. Please, this didn't happen anywhere. It happened here in Accra. We was here. Accra, here. And we had to go rescue this girl and saw the case through with DOFSU until its very end. So issues of child marriage are only, though the stats have it that they are paramount in the rural areas and the coastal belts, is happening here in Accra too. And it's our duty as traditional authority to, when we hear some of these incidences or cases, when sort of waka, to liberate our children, because it is a human rights violation. Lawyer,
Yes.
what is the position of the law when it comes to child marriage in Ghana?
Oh, it's illegal. I mean, from the position of the law, someone who is below 18 cannot marry. So if you catch them or even they allow, that marriage is illegal. So I'm grateful that you're able to cause Nana Window to help you to bring the girl back into order. However, there are so many reasons why people go into these relationships. Majority of them is lack of education, sometimes too is poverty. And sometimes too is lack of support. So for example, from the story that she just told, this girl may be someone who doesn't know where her next meal will come from. And the mother says, this man is well-to-do, he will help us, so just go. So even you, the legal officer who is trying to bring her back, you are seen as a stumbling block. So I am thinking that from where I sit and from the experiences that we've had as FIDA and other women's rights organizations and groups, what we have to do is to, like the way we are here, coming together from the traditional point of view, from the religious point, from family point, and from telling us that let's give us a lot of support. You see, if our social systems were extremely tight, like the way we have it in the foreign countries, I believe that these matters will be very, very minimal, you see. But the person is asking themselves, even when they're in abusive relationships, now I've moved from the child marriage, they say, where will I get my next meal from? Or the girl, the mother says, oh, my girl, now they start forging the ages. They'll say, no, she's 18, she's 18. And if you really want to prosecute the perpetrator, you have to go and do forensics on the bone of the girl. How many people have the money to do that? And are our government agencies ready to support us to do the forensic on the bone to determine that the girl you captured is 15 and not 18? Because sometimes people look at the structure. I don't want to cite any case. They look at the structure of the girl and they say, hey, look at how tall she is. Look at her backside. Look at her front. Who says she's 15? Who says she's 13? No. She's old. So I think that it's a holistic effort, and I'm happy that we are having these conversations. The conversations are now very, very, very rampant. And one of the points that I want to raise, I don't know whether your questions will go there, from FIDA's point is that the traditional rulers can help us a lot if they institute policies in their communities that say that if you do this, we will do that. Yeah. So in Chufupras in 2008, what the traditional rulers did was that if you violated your spouse, they punished you by making sure no woman will marry in your house. So we can have a communique today that says that if you continue to do harmful practices against women and girls, which includes marrying them out below 18, we will do A, B, and C to you. And I think that we have the quorum here to be able to do that. I thank you kindly.
Manano, Mansanta, if you continue to do this against women and girls, we won't let. I think that's a very good initiative by that traditional area. Doc, I'm coming to you. Recently, I think about 2 weeks ago, we heard that in Sierra Leone, just our neighbors here, there has been a ban on child marriage. Corporates are found, I think are given a prison term of 15 years, or you pay a fine of $4,000. Yes, dollars. Is it a good deterrent enough to prevent our young girls from being given in marriages? I want to go to Dr. Afisa Zakaria from the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. From the government point of view, they are the policy people, they do the policies. What would you say is the position of child marriage, and what are the stats in the case of Ghana?
All right, thank you, Bansaga. That's a title. All right. Thank you for the opportunity. Our Excellencies, Royals, permit me to stand on existing protocols. Yes, child marriage is a violation of human rights. That is how we see it. And the definition of child marriage has already been given, whether between a child below 18 years with an elderly person or between both sides being below the ages of 18. And it involves a male child too. So we have laws, we see it as a domestic violence case. Whether you abuse a child physically, emotionally, sexually, or we term that as domestic violence. And so on the part of government, using the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection as an example, it is our duty to protect the Ghanaian child. And we have laws in place to prosecute those who violate such laws. We work closely with the Attorney General's Department and also, we work closely with them. Those who give out their children, whether the formal way or informal way, if the child is below 18 years, once we get hold of this, we will come and arrest the parents, free the child. There are some we are keeping and then some are going to school and government is taking care of them till they get to that age where they can decide. And our aim is for their welfare, not to disrespect the parents, not to disrespect customs or traditions that encourage such things, but for the welfare of the child. At that age, we believe that a child is not fully developed. Health-wise, if a child gets pregnant at that age, and I'm talking of the girls, the body is not ready to receive or to incubate the child and deliver. Some end up dying, others get complications, and they live with such complications for their lives. We've heard of fistula. Most of the time, those who are not matured enough, when they get such things, it's so tormenting. You sit and urine is running, you know. Even if you wear things just to soak the urine, the scent that comes out alone. So if you look at child marriage, yes, others want them very young, but it's a criminal offense in this country. Sierra Leone, they have put in place laws like that, but we have also prosecuted people who have gone against our laws. And I believe we can work together to ensure that children of this country, they develop well and become good citizens and leaders of this country. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we've had a legal perspective, we've heard from traditional authority as well. And so what comes to mind is two schools of thoughts on child marriage. On the first hand, somebody will say, I don't want to disrespect our cultural values and traditions. Somebody else will say that, but it's not right to push a young girl to marry. We have a young person here. She's an advocate and sexual rights. Listen, you are here. Let's hear from you. What is your perspective from child marriage as a young person? At the core of this discussion is the young person, is the young girl who is going to marry. And please, let's take note that child marriage is not only between a child and an adult, it's also amongst children. An 11-year-old marrying a 15-year-old man. Because I'm so saying. What do you say?
Thank you very much. Nanano Nime Name, standing on all protocols observed. Good morning once again, and thank you very much for this opportunity. I think the issues have already been well laid out from the different perspectives, and like you rightly mentioned, at the core of this is that young girl that at the end of the day is going to be given off. And to rightly also take off from where Doc left off, for me, as a young person and from a development perspective, at the end of the day, you are looking at the holistic development of the girl. So that, like Doc mentioned, the issues of fistula. A girl is given out in marriage before she's 18. We know that looking at her educational structure before 18, that girl should be in school. So it means indirectly or technically, we know that that girl will be taken out of school. For most of the girls, the opportunity to return to the classroom is usually taken off. So they are out of the classroom, they are home, and they are wives. So you look at it, and then you can easily tell that the future of that girl has been truncated, because at that point of 15 years when she's given out, she doesn't have any skill that in the future makes her employable. She doesn't have any skill that she could work with to earn income. So she's in there 10 years on or 5 years on in marriage. She has children. And when you look at it from a reproductive health perspective, you realize that at 15 years, it means that she has entered her fertility level very early. And that puts her on the front that she has the ability to have more children because of where she is. She doesn't have any voice of her own. She's going to have to be obedient as the youngest wife or the wife who comes in or the number that she falls on. So when her husband says, you have to satisfy me sexually, she has to give in. She is not allowed to make reproductive health choices which will allow her to say, oh, I just want to have 2 children, I want to have 3 children. So we are reproducing. She has 10 children. She cannot have, she doesn't have any skill to work and then be able to cater for all those children. And so she's in there. She doesn't have a voice. At the slightest thing, she's susceptible to abuse, because if she says no, she's be beaten. And so the issues you look in there are interrelated and interlinked. Eventually, for a country or for us as a society, we have lost a huge human resource. That girl could have gone to be a doctor, she could have been a nurse, she could have been a lawyer, an agriculturalist, everything that we can think of. But because of child marriage, all that has been truncated. And so you look at it, and the dividend that we could have reaped from that girl, economically, socially, from a development point, we have lost all. Is that what we want? Is that the future? And that is what the statistics have told us, and that is what we have seen from time immemorial. With respect to culture, yes, we all would say at the end of the day, in the olden days, no one meant evil for the girl. Yes, and that's very, very true. Like Nana rightly said, it was for, how do we call it? At the end of the day, it was for the well-being of the girl. But culture is dynamic, we are learning. Now we have said, and like Nana rightly said, human rights. At the end of the day, the overlaying issue in this is it's a human rights violation, whether we like it or not, unfortunately. As a country, we have signed up to so many conventions that protect the girl child, the boy child in this situation. We have our own constitution which has wrapped it up nicely. You look at the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, and even in that, when you look at, when you study the convention, it talks about the fact that whatever decision should be taken in the best interest of the child. And so even if the two of them are below 18 and they come to us and say, or they come to our elders and say, oh, we want to get married, that is when we should say that no, whatever decision, we are stopping you because at the end of the day, it is in your best interest. We look at international conventions. When we talk about the International Convention on Population and Development, it outlays all these issues and protects the right and the development of the child. So for the girl, we are looking at preventing child marriage, but at the end of the day, we are looking at protecting her future. We are looking at the fact that her body is protected. And what are the long-term gains at the end of the day? This girl is able to stay in school longer. She's able to have a livelihood empowerment skill. She has a skill that makes her employable. She becomes a good citizen. She's employed. She pays taxes back to the state. This goes back to our coffers and then develops the state. We look at somebody who can be able to now have a number of children that she can take care of. And once she's taking care of those children, we know that we will not have a lot of street children on the streets because their parents could not provide for them. So you look at all of them in those layers, those different tranches, and at the end of the day, if we look at the global space now and what the pace of development is going, I think that we all agree that there is no way that any child below 18 years should get married, even if they want to. No, it should not happen.
On the note of even if they want to, and if the child has no say in other matters, they equally have no say when it comes to marriage. And as she rightly said, the interest of the child is paramount. There's something I call intergenerational transfer of poverty. Yes, when a child is married at a very young age, in fact, we can outline the consequences. They are enormous. But the poverty is being transferred to that child's child, and that child's grandchild, and it goes on and on and on. We've heard from our gender advocate, and in fact, she summed it up very nicely. But let me take us back memory lane. Those will be our last round of questions, and then we can come to the audience and have your opinion as well. We are living here as champions of child marriage, and that when we go to our communities, we are going to institute or add onto our bylaws penalties for children who are giving off in marriages. So let me come back to the point of not too long ago. And the local and international media was bubbling. Ghana was everywhere. Ghana. Yes, and my beloved Ghana. Doc, Lawyer Casey, I'm coming to you. So there was a marriage of a young girl to, in quote, a deity. Lawyer, why do you think this discussion caught fire?
I'm holding at one of our statements that we issued. The discussions caught fire because of the prominence of the event. And I can describe it because I saw it on my class platform on social media. The number of people who were there, the dignitaries, the ceremony. I mean, for every Ghanaian society, if you have been married, you know how marital rights are done. You know the procedure. And so, without being too peppering the matter, the events carried out as though there was a ceremony like a marriage. When we do marital ceremonies, advices are offered to the bride and the groom, but we also agree that the advice to the bride is more. The responsibilities laid on women when marital rights are happening is a lot. When you go cook, clean, do this, do that. Today is not the day to discuss patriarchy. It's not the day to discuss roles of gender and all those things. But those things are said during marital rights. So they were said in that meeting. Ushering of the bride and all those things happened per the video. I'm just describing video. I'm just describing video. So I am not for and against in this meeting. So per the video, we were all like, what is happening, this and that and that and that. Then the age of the girl was stated as 12. Then I am on different platforms as well. There's one that is for my class. There's one for other lawyers who are at different levels, and there's one for the different women rights groups. So it was everywhere, and everybody had different views. So when issues of our statements started going around, then the age of the girl began to change. Then the ceremony began growing. Yes. Then the ceremony began to change from we are initiating her to we are dating to we are right. When she grows, when she finishes school, we are preparing her for. We don't want her to be violated. There are no virgins in a particular location in Accra. All of that came up. There are no virgins in that locality. So the way to protect that particular candidate is to do what they did. So if there are no virgins in a particular locality, is it not our duty to find out who has been disvirgining them and bring them to law? The law says that if you have sex with somebody below the age of 16, you have violated them. So if you can come and say that by virtue of that event, there are no virgins in a certain locality, who has been disvirgining the girls? Let's question the girls and bring all those people to book. That's, for me, was the first thing we should have tackled. You see that I'm making you digress because of
please, if you note anything at all, note this down. As you are going back to your communities, who is diverging all the virgins in your community? Let's bring them now, we'll bring them to the palace. And then if it warrants that, we bring the legal perspective, we'll get them arrested. Because it's defilement. When you come to the major, I'm sure you saw the video. Let me take, just in 2 minutes.
I think we all saw the video. And with this issue, I have my own mindset. Sure. It wasn't a marriage that was going to be given to a grown-up person. It was a spiritual marriage, or spiritual something that they were going to initiate this young girl into. So, for me, my thoughts, I don't see, it's something which is part of our tradition and custom, because you don't know whenever the deity can fall on anyone. Spiritually, it can come. And when it comes, you need to perform the ritual, the rites for that person. Being it an adult, a tender age, whatsoever, that is the culture or the custom. So, for my ideas, you are not bringing it into the law, yes.
Okay, so I made it clear earlier that we get a cultural perspective and a legal perspective. And these are some of the cultural dynamics to that entire incident. And therefore, based on where you are standing as a legal person or as a cultural person, and what your opinions or what your views are. Nana Awindo, I won't let you touch on this one. You know, you outlined a lot of values in our rich culture. So let me say you talk on from a scientific perspective. But why does it come forth as if traditional authority is against child marriage?
Well, traditional authority is against child marriage. Currently, is education. That is paramount now. And that is what is making our traditional systems sit up against most of the things, harmful cultural practices that are being endemic in our systems. What is happening now is that communities themselves have taken charge and making
laws, bylaws, baby laws, community laws to protect their own people. So traditional systems are against child marriage. What is happening is that those who are doing it, I'm sorry to say, are ignorant that what they are doing is rather perpetuating the child marriage. I cited an example at the beginning that one chief said that they were forcing the men who had made the girls pregnant to marry them. You know, and as I speak now, that has stopped. So ignorance is what is making people or the chiefs or traditional systems still practice it. Some of them are so hooked in their systems that it would take some time. It would take continuous engagement. It would take education. Because honestly, when we finish empowerment sessions with traditional leaders, and we ask them the same question we asked them at the beginning of the engagement, the answer is 360 degrees turn around. And that means that education is paramount. So, Queen, we have to continue to engage, and that is the only way, I believe, we can move away from getting our girls into marriage prematurely. And now at least we know, even if we have not seen, we've heard the consequences, the social, the cultural, the economic, and the other consequences, the health. That's even more important. The health of the girls. I have teenage girls who are 15, 12, 13. One of the girls, the mother, and the girl herself, I mean, so you can imagine the girl. One day I cry all the time in community. I cry, pa. The woman just looked at my face and said, Nana, if you da me ye pada. She doesn't even have enough to eat to take care of that girl, and you've brought a third responsibility on the mother. Onye Nipada is so pregnant of something I can't express in words. The woman is frustrated. So, in fact, we became Jesus Christ for her when we told her that we were going to take her girl back to school. If only she was ready to collect the grandchild and take care of her. And she willingly said she would. Maybe it's me jai juma kra na mahweme na ya mehwe se ne be ya modi me baby go school. And I'm telling you that today one of our girls is in Dubai. She sent me a message. She was on the streets, teenage mother. One of our girls is in UK as I speak. She became the best, second best. When they did BC in Agogo, she became the second best. She was on the streets. And what is happening to our girls if we push them into marriage? Only now that is ignorance. Only now if he's put you in this state, if you had a child with him, then go and marry him. Now, piano. Now the original. What Abadayano way? Where is that relationship? Where is that cord? How would you push your girl to go and live in somebody's house when they don't even want her to start with?
Nana, I know. If I leave you, this thing won't finish today. In fact, she's a champion of child marriage, and we have a lot of teenage mothers under her care, which we call the Teenage Mothers Back to School Project. There are a lot of mothers who are under care, and she's seeing them through education. And she said that yes, we continue to engage, and when we say thank you to UNFPA, we continue to engage. We have some of these discussions as the days and years go by, and we thank UNFPA for coming on board for support this initiative, and we'll still come back to you to see how best we can push this to the latter and say no child marriage in our various communities. I remember 2 years ago, UNFPA came to our support, and in the Yagbon Kingdom, Savannah region, the then Yagbon to Tumba Borisa declared Savannah region a gender violence-based free community, and so there's more to do. Let me take my last words. I'll go to Dr. Afisa Zakaria, and let me talk about what implications of ending child marriage. What will be implications when it comes to international community or our standing in international affairs? If Ghanaians or Ghana says that, okay, we have ended child marriages, what will we be doing to the SDGs, and how will we be seen in the international world?
Okay, let me start by thanking our partners, especially UNFPA. They are supporting our ministry a lot. They've helped us to set up an application we call Buame app, and then we also have this toll-free number that people can call into. We have 3 of them that people can call into freely to report such cases. I believe that Ghana, yes, together with our traditional rulers, we can end child marriage. I know you are doing a lot. I've attended some of your programs, and a lot of you are doing amazing things to end child marriage. And I urge you, our royals, to continue. Yeah, we need to end it. We need to end it and then move into the future to tackle bigger things. Yeah. These are our future leaders. So, coming back to your question, Ghana, we've always been champions of various initiatives. Yes. And so ending child marriage will not be a surprise. If you look at the statistics we have and then you compare with our neighbors or some of the countries in Africa, I mean, Ghana, we are doing a lot. In 1998, the prevalence of child marriage in Ghana was around 30%. By 2018, we've been able to reduce it to 19. 2021, we've gone down further. And all this thanks to our partners, our traditional leaders. For UNFPA, when it comes to women's affairs, I must continue to laud you for all you are doing for us. Thank you so much. So it will not be a surprise to the world. They know Ghana what we can do. And I know this, we can do it. Let's do it together and showcase Ghana once again. Thank you.
We showcase Ghana once again. Let me extend those warm greetings to all of you from the MP for this area, Honorable Lydia Alassane. She was supposed to be here this morning, but she's currently at Pediasi attending the cabinet retreat, but she extends her regards to all of you. And then she says her doors are open, her hands are open to welcome you anytime. Let me go to Nana Awoba. My final words on this whole issue of, when I was telling you, Nana is so passionate about the effect of child marriage. Because the effects are enormous. Nana, your final words on this.
Thank you. What I would say is like, when I was installed as a chief by Otumfuo, my constituency, especially my hometown, the teenage pregnancy was about. You know what I did to get that education? My first priority was education. I used to go, some of my elders, in the afternoon, let's go from classroom to classroom. And I asked them, what did the mind do to you that you give yourself to them? The JHS. Nama, 1 CD and egg. Indo, like you're saying. I said, oh, I was almost crying. So I set some laws, like under 18 years, whoever did that,
the Lord will deal with you. There wasn't secondary school in my country up to JHS. I took it upon myself, my elders. Now there's secondary school, government absorbing. 4 years ago, I and my other citizen was able to help 10 girls in, right now, they are in the training college now. Final year, their life changed. I was built my palace, but I said, no, I have a house to live in, it's like a palace anyway, but let me concentrate on education part. We are building another palace. Anytime I started doing the palace, then I had to turn back to the school. Because what I realized is, if I use the money that to buy V8s, I'm only myself enjoying it, and my subjects are just working out. I'm not going to feel good. Like one of us said that education is the best. Look at these beautiful daughters here. If I have 10 of them in my hometown, and Nana is doing a harvest and consult them, if I need 20,000 Ghana right now, they'll be able to help me through an education. Now, government has absorbed the secondary school. They are enjoying free bills and, now I'm going back to my palace to start a building. I had the data from the nurse clinic over the Nana. Now the teenage pregnancy has dropped in my time. So how did you know? I said, yeah, we know. We have the list. So education is big investment than even cocoa farming.
Now let me just hold you there.
Thank you.
Education is a bigger investment than cocoa farming. And he had to store the construction of his palace and divert the funds into building a school which the government has absorbed, and that makes him happy. We can do better. He says he will pride himself in the V8 when girls in his community are being, Nana, God bless you. I'll buy you a V8.
Okay. If you don't do that, the burden comes on us.
Exactly.
You know how many people come to me, work to me? Some has 5, 8 kids. And to do more in terms of every month menstruation, especially to use that way. And most girls, even to get a pad, they don't have it.
Nana,
this is don't distribute.
Just hold it there. Gender, you are there. You are there. They'll help us do. Thank you very much. Your final words, Ms. Esinam Azuma.
I think Nana has really hit all the issues right on the nail. Yeah. And from all our final words, we realize how child marriage is linked to everything, even menstruation. And I don't think we have said that enough. But for me, my final words as we are going, kudos to all our progressive chiefs at the community level. That is where the work is, and they are doing it. For me, ending child marriage will be putting Ghana on the map like the country Malawi. For a lot of us, I'm sure Nana already knows the story of the Queen Mother in the paramount Queen Mother in Malawi who ended child marriage in her community. We should no longer say that 1 in 5 girls in Ghana is married before their 18th birthday, and that is the current data. For me, ending child marriage means that reducing maternal mortality in this country. There is one final gap that we have been pushing. And at the end of the day, if we'll be able to push that the affirmative action bill be passed in Parliament, a lot of these issues, a lot of all these, we will not come back to it. A last one are some gaps that we have in policies and laws. Currently, our law says that you can't get married until you are 18. But then our same law also says that the age to give consent to sex is 16. And that is where the issue is. And so technically, if girls can have a right to be having sex, in quotes, at 16, and they are pregnant before 18 when the law allows them to get married, there is no coherence. We need to get back. We need to push and put these laws aligning. Everything should be at 18 so that you cannot have sex, you cannot get married. You should be in school. So some of our laws are not aligning. Our policies, we have them. At Doc, there is a whole strategic framework in ending child marriage in this country. There's nothing we have not done. All of them need to be tied together. We need all the stakeholders working together. Everybody needs to play their role. Our queen mothers, our nananim, everybody. At the end of the day, we can get there. And for young people like us, once you also see how are we mentoring or how are we guiding other girls in our communities, it is not easy. I think Nana mentioned those things. Some of us grew up in coastal communities where at 15, if you don't have a child, you are being called a barren woman. It hurts, but at the end of the day, if you can push that girl, today some of our mates, we see them and yes, they regret that at that age, they probably loved it, they didn't know what it is. But it all boils down to education. If we can educate them, if we can carry them along, probably in the next how many years, we should not give ourselves so long, but then definitely with baby steps and big giants, we'll be able to get there. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, this discussion, we can have it the whole day. Panelists have done so well, but I'll take my final window come to you, our audience. Take 2 questions from my right and 2 questions from my left, and then the hands are getting low. Nana, your final word. So there is a lacuna between the age of consent to sex and marriage. 16. What do you do when people say, once I want them, because she has consented at 16 to sex, and now she's pregnant. No, for the marriage, they should be what? They should be 18 to marry. In our last words.
Thank you, Queen. So let's talk practicality. So, nananum. We will beg of you, talking about baby steps. When we did the Ending Child Marriage with UNFPA last year, one of the things that the chiefs and queen mothers initiated in their community was to stop children from loitering after 8 p.m. in their communities. Let's do baby steps. When you go back into your communities, at least let's start with that. If we are able to start with that, do you know how many children will sleep or will be indoors under the protection of their children, of their parents, at that time that they would have been loitering? Another thing that we realized that was harming our children was when they finish funeral and the grown-ups go, then the children take over. So please, we beg of you, if you go back, tell your community people that henceforth, including the children. These are baby steps that if we are able to at least initiate in our communities, it will really help us to start the process of ending child marriage. I will add my voice quickly to Dr. Afisa to say thank you to UNFPA for the support they've been giving us. Because if 3 paramouncies said no to child marriage, can you imagine if 20 paramouncies do that? If 30 paramouncies in Ghana do that, how beautiful it's going to be and how our children will in 20 years refer to this gathering, this conversation that is going worldwide, because you know we are online. So it's not just those of us who are here that are hearing, but a lot more are hearing, a lot more are learning, and a lot more will be done after this conversation. And we thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nana, and thank you to my panelists. Yes, and on that note, one of the paramouncies who said no to child marriage is the paramount chief of Abatime in the Volta region, Toby Ose Tepo, who's supposed to be here with us. Toby Ose Ajatepo, the 7th. He was supposed to be here with us, but he couldn't make it. He has declared Abatime a child marriage-free community. We can as well do the same in our various communities after this discussion. So I want to come back to the audience, and I'll start with my right. Nana is already in front of me. So we'll take 2 questions, one more here, and then I'll take 2 more from here. And students who are here from UPSA, we welcome your questions as well. Our panelists will be here. If you don't get an opportunity to ask your question, please, after here, do approach any of them and ask your question. Thank you.
Okay. I hope I won't provoke emotions in what I'm going to say.
Not at all, Nana. It's a learning curve for all of us.
Exactly.
Yes.
The topic is, or the question is, does child marriage exist in our cultural system or traditional system? I would say yes. Then, in those days, it existed, but it was not child marriage as we used to say now. You see, we are discussing this and as if things done in the past by our forefathers were sort of quote unquote stupid. But I'm telling you, they may not be literate, as in reading and writing, but they are very, very intelligent guys. They are driven by wisdom. So today we have set the benchmark, constitution, 18 years, below 18 years, then child marriage and all the laws come to attack you. Those days, they had a benchmark, and that was the puberty rights. Nana, what's racial now? Why? So why what's racial? Rape, something. And it's done in the public. So this young lady, or the young ladies who have passed the puberty rights, that's in passing the menstrual system, they are displayed in public. Now, it's a small community, so you will find a home where you see honest guys, honest people. The father is honest, the mother is hardworking. It's not only money. Other factors of society, character, identify those. Oh, as for this family, I want my daughter to marry from that. You see? So now, fast forward. In my view, I think we should look at the past and emulate the good that they were doing, and then sort of check the excesses which happened at that time. What are the good ones I'm talking about? The good one being that you are given into a marriage to a certain home. Now, in this modern time, our girls, our ladies are let alone to go and find for their partners. Whom are you going to find your right partner? You move from one man to the other, and you are running, and the abortions, and so. Now, at the point they say, now, let me turn to Jesus Christ, and then go to church. By the time you go, excuse me, I'm sorry. Maybe all your babies are gone, and I want to go to pray and pray and pray and pray. Compare that to when our fathers, they betrothed you to a home, married you, and then, you have your children intact, you continue life, and then you are fine. Let's compare that. As for the excesses, as in marrying, how can you marry 10-year-old because you say they have the futures and so on. That's the excesses part, which we should criminalize and actually punish. But the good ones which they were practicing, I believe that we should emulate it and then fine-tune it in this time, and it will be good for us. A short one on the women thing, and Nana was right. It was not marriage. And with all due respect, I want to blame the Ghana traditional authorities for this mistake. The whole thing is a spiritual thing done indoors. It's the royal family, a few elders of them, then the chief priest, they sit in, and then do this thing without the public. But what did we see? So people say, then there's something going on. It is wrong. It is not so. It was not done like that. So I blame the Ghana. In fact, I was so sorry when this went round the whole world, the Ghana, we betrothed 13-year-old. No. So please, tradition. We should respect our tradition and our culture, so far as and even our traditional worship. We should give reverence to them. You see, the tradition has come into a whole barrage of bastardizing from other religion. and we put our religion into them sort of bad light. If we are going to respect our tradition and our worship, and we'll make a good way.
Thank you very much for that wonderful contribution. So in this era of social media, as Nananom, let's know what we do in camera and what we expose out to the world. Some of our traditional things are very sacred, and so we don't expose them to the public. And so let's tread cautiously in this social media era. Okay, I'll take one more question.
Is it me? Yeah. My name is Nana Ekuakwache from Abonse. I like to support Nana's words on education, that he tried to educate the children. I think education is one of the best ways to end this child early marriage. I supported my school to enter into education. What happened was, when I went to my village, the children were not going to school. There are a lot of rocks and stones in the village, so all you see is the boys cracking stones and the girls cracking stones and burning firewood for charcoal and that sort of thing. And the school was about to be closed down because of lack of resources. There were no children in the school, there were no chalk, there were no pencils, there were no teachers. And that broke my heart. So I decided to help to bring the school up. Fortunately, I live in the UK. So the first thing I did was to try to establish a link between my school, the school at Abonse, and that of United Kingdom. And that link helped a lot. Our first support was, I remember it was about £200. Chalks, pencils, erasers, a slate, a drum, and that sort of thing. And that continued. So at that time, I was told that from the year 1994, there had not been any child passing the then JSS education, the exam, until the year 2004 when I started this link. And got so good. The first result was that we had 56% passes. And that stopped the school from being closed down, because if the school had been closed down, that means the children in my village will have to walk about 3 kilometers to the next town for schooling. That alone led. Just imagine if they were not passing the JSS education, how could they enter into secondary schools? So I tried to get a sponsorship for them, and the first children were about 7 to get scholarship to enter into secondary schools. And that continued. Children started going to secondary schools because when the other children, their colleagues come from school, the way they comport themselves, the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they behave, so that encouraged the parents and the children to send their children to secondary schools. Now we have secondary school students, but what about higher education? They finish the secondary school and they come back home. So I thought, okay, at my own expense, I will try to get some refurbished laptops for any child who entered into a university. And believe you me, the initial response was I had to buy about 3 laptops. We had 3 students entering into university, and it continued, and it continued. So now we have graduates in the village.
Let's put our hands together for Nana. That is a very great initiative. Yeah. Nana, I hold you there. Yeah. We appreciate all you are doing in the community. We want all chiefs and great mothers here to emulate same. Our time is almost up. There is a graduation ceremony happening today for our chiefs who are just graduating from the course. So I'll take 2 more questions from here.
My name is Nana Kojo Tano II from Bremen traditional area, Bremen ACM traditional area. I think we've nailed it by our panelists, but listening to them all, I realized that the theme, child marriage, should also be aligned to child labor, because that child is going into that relationship to labor. In any case, if that child is bringing forth, she will be going through labor. If she went there to support the household, it's labor. And if we have to concentrate on child labor, it will help stop the urban drift of at-risk children who end up becoming house helps and prostitutes and, you know, sleeping in kiosks and so on. I think the most important aspect of it will be trying to develop income-generating ventures and identifying the at-risk in our communities, like single parents and child mothers, and then begin to see where we can help them. And I'm hoping that UNFPA would look at it from that perspective, and we can continue the dialogue in this direction. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll take a question from the audience. Thank you. We've had royalty speak. Let's hear from her. Wrap it up with your question, Madam.
Thank you very much. My name is Esinam. I work with Plan International Ghana.
Okay.
I just want us to reflect on some few questions, and also the legal person should give us some ideas on the position of the Ghana's law with marriage to deities, and if there is any law like that, if you can give us some education on that. Secondly, if we are beginning to accept the spiritual marriages as one of our cultures and believe, I'm not against any culture, are we ready as a country to start accepting the fact that pastors and malams will come out one day to say that they've seen a vision, that God says somebody should marry a 12-year child? It's just a thought we need to reflect on. And I think that if this child marriage has been a protection mechanism for our children in the past, and it worked perfectly, and now we are seeing the negative aspect of it, can we critically look at the negative aspects, modify them as we go, because society is dynamic, and we should start thinking about those things as well, and not to hold on to the old mechanism that currently is not working. Thank you.
Thank you very much. From a student here. Is there a question from a student? From a student. Okay. Mama just let's take your question.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity given. First of all, I would want to know if the traditional settings rules could be linked with that of the rights, that is the human rights, if it could be linked, because when you look at the traditional their rules, and then you take that of the human rights, they are confusing. They do not agree. So if that could be done so that when interpreting the rules, at least the traditional reader may understand it on liberal grounds. Because when you take the right, if you are not that much enlightened, you would interpret it in a different way. So if it is linked up, I think when anybody at all takes it, the person will read it and then understand it. As to compare to that of the age 16, and then that of 18, and then some even have a 21. Yeah. Yes, some have a 21. So if we could do something about it and then see how it will help us. So and then one of the days when corporate bodies or NGOs or government do not see traditional leaders as people that they could come closer to or have interactions with. Now, with the help of UNFPA and other corporate bodies, they've seen that there is the need for them to start from the grassroots, that is the traditional areas. So starting from the traditional areas, we must do things that the traditional areas will be able to understand, so that in communicating to their people, it will be very easy for them. Thank you.
Mama Ghana are just saying that and values and constitutional rights of children. How do we marry this together? How do we get the policies to the very barest minimum in our communities to make it comprehensive to all children, women, and mothers? So that is a question Mama is posing. We'll take our final question from Mama Waname.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Mama Dola Nutifafa Waname, Queen of the Votarians in Ashaima. Now, Mama Ganhude, the third Paramount Queen of Joje traditional area, which I know is new to a lot of people here. Thank you very much. Please, I want to know on this issue of having an affair when you are 16, getting married when you are 16, getting married when you are 18. How did this start? What happened? And if we know the decision-making process, no matter how the traditional rulers are supposed to be part of this decision-making process. Since when did it start? And are we made to be part of this decision-making? And if yes, how would they make love? Where would they pour the sperm in order to stop them from getting pregnant and waiting till they get married at 18? I'm lost here. If lawyer can please explain this for me better. Thank you very much.
Our last question from the extreme, but Nana, and I give my last question.
Okay.
Nana, yes.
I'm Nana Kateshi Doctor from Senior Divisional Area in Alpha Region, Kuku International Council. My question is, looking at the effort by the government with respect to child marriage, it seems to be very operational in urban areas to the detriment of the rural areas. In my area, for instance, ever since I was zone office, I thought it was there's the need to set up a foundation which now have about 31 orphans in my foundation who receive educational sponsorship in everything. Last year, those who completed the BC, there was one girl. She had 9 aggregate 9. But this girl, the father wasn't around and the mother was very poor. The girl wished to study science as English, so I thought it wise to sponsor her. She's now in school. My question is, what measures are the UNFPA and then the Gender Ministry, what are they doing to support those in rural areas? You can say you go in Kwasi, I assure a school for now, Casamuano, or one from Pro, and Master from one from Pro, and one Casa a Kimpa, a man, any man, a Kimpa, or he would know this from Ubecan, or Mandacasa, one. It's a day and she a papa, and a million shower. Yea, a diabua, Sabian, and I'm saying a party as well. Yes, we are more uncle. A teacher for one can say most high school students. A most high school, some of them, a king. We know how I could. Nti yɛbɛsrɛ sɛ yɛka yɛnka ne yɛhyehyɛ pa ntimi mmoa yɛhwɛ nkraheɛ koraa no a ebi kɔ so wɔ ha yɛbɛyɛ street yi mu a mmɔfra a obi yɛtumi tu kwa fii kurom ɔso ɔnua ma wɔni agya wɔba nka wɔbɛbra wobɛhwɛ no wɔne mmaa wɔne nnoma na yɛde ɛda nsa na biribi a yɛde akɔnɔ no nti ha no nso hyɛ bɛn ɛna yɛyɛ ɛde aboa wɔsi nyinaa yɛ ɔhaw a ɛkukyɛ ɔman no mpintu wɔda mpanimfoɔ
Manano audience, please forgive me. I can't take any more questions. Thank you very much for understanding. We come to lawyer Peace Kezia Kenneth Azuma to give some responses to the questions that were posed.
Fortunately, I'm a facilitator in some programs, and I've always said that if you write a law that says a child can have sex at 16, but they can marry only at 18, what you're saying is that they can do illegal things at 16 and only legalize it when they are 18. The challenge is this: majority of this one is not to put any gender down. So let me make the disclaimer. Before someone thinks that, as for the lawyer, when she starts talking, she wants to deal with some particular gender. Majority of the people who pass the laws are of a particular gender. The reason why there is the gap and we have not been able to breach it is that particular reason. And that is why when my friend said affirmative action has to be passed, it is so important that we don't allow the current parliament to go on the elections without passing that law. It will allow a lot more women to enter into parliament and begin to bring some of the gaps in all the laws. So, for example, we have some boards that does not have women at all, because the composition is such that a woman may not be able to enter into that board, not because they may not be qualified. There are so many reasons. Now, so to enter into the arena of the question the lady asked about why a girl can have sex or a boy can have sex at 16, but can only marry when they are 18 under the Constitution. We can now charge our parliamentarians to say they should go and change that law. All of us here have a certain parliamentarian in our community. Let's tell them that if the legal age of marriage is 18, ensure that the legal age of having sex is also 18. In fact, 21. No problem. If I ask for 21, it is for contracts. 21 is a bit far for contract. But 18, I think will be fair. The second thing the man asks at the back, who says, what shall we do if our girls and boys are already boyfriends and misbehaving in the schools? What can the chiefs and crew mothers do? What we can do is to do virgins clubs for boys and girls. If you go into your community and give them reasons why they should remain virgins till they marry, and you give them motivation, and you make each other's brothers keepers, and you say that if you reach this level, I will do this for you, and you follow it through, I think that we can preserve the rest of the remnant. I mean, the Bible says that there is always a remnant. There's always somebody who has not yet been violated, and that can be done. And we want to encourage our partners, UNFPA, the Gender Ministry, to support us in the advocacy. Nana and Window said education. If you tell the young people that if you continue doing these things, you will get into HIV. You would get fistula, you will die early, you will not become like Mami Lawyer, who is over 40 but looking like she's 20 because of the opportunities she has allowed herself to go into. If you use all these stories to educate, it will help. There's a queen mother there who says she lives in the UK. If she didn't get into education, look at the impeccable English she's speaking. So she can go and even use her story. I think that we can get the remnant, and if we get support from our financiers. And then there's a certain question that said, what shall the traditional rules and the human rights converge? I want to read the Article 26 of the Constitution. It says that every person is entitled to enjoy, practice, profess, maintain, and promote any culture, language, tradition, or religion, subject to the provisions of this Constitution. All customary practices which dehumanize or are injurious to the physical and mental well-being of a person are prohibited. So if your cultural rules are not in violation of Article 26(2), they do not dehumanize people or they are not injurious to the well-being of the person, then they can be upheld. Under the law, there's nothing like spiritual marriage. In fact, when you go to court, you can't even say that this person is pursuing me in my dream, so my Lord, I want you to put them behind bars, or I have brought them that they are witches. In fact, Ekuadente helped us. Her death brought the passage of the anti-witchcraft bill. We are praying that it will be accented too. So there is no law that allows humans to be married to spirits or otherwise. Okay? So it has to do with two consenting adults. If they are young, like even the 18, when you go to the procedure, their families have to even give the consent in addition to the people who are even 18. So there could be no spiritual marriage. So every traditional right or every traditional rule, wherever it is found, which is not in tandem with Article 26 of the Constitution, cannot stand. So ladies and gentlemen, I beg, we will have to find a way to synchronize all our traditional rules and regulations to be in line with the Constitution. Otherwise, we may be in some kind of trouble. I thank you very much.
Thank you. So to summarize it, we are saying that whatever cultural practices, norms, or values you are adhering to in your particular community should fundamentally, or first and foremost, not violate anybody's sexual rights. All the rights, we have sexual rights, educational rights, political rights of any person, not just girls, not just children, of any person at all. Then you are free to pursue those cultural values. But any add-ons, then you can call it a day. You are yes. Okay, so thank you very much. It's been a wonderful discussion. We wish time will permit us to delve deeper and take more questions and have some steps. But then from all what we've gathered here, the next steps from here to see how the center can liaise with all the chiefs and queen mothers here to become champions, advocates, ending child marriages in our various communities. And we replicate this at all 60 regions of Ghana and get Ghana to be a child marriage-free community. And if possible, right, government to make the policy, just like Sierra Leone banned it nationally, in Ghana at a national level, we can have a national declaration saying that enough of child marriage in Ghana, and the traditional authority who you think are both promoting it are tapping our feet and saying yes, enough. Thank you, Nana, for coming. Thank you, our panelists. You've been so amazing. Thank you, Esinam. Thank you, Nana. We say Asan Kushu to you all. So my name is Nkilikiludiche Boresa, and I say my own greetings to Yagbowura Bikunu to Jewu, the overlord of the Gonja Kingdom in the Savannah region. Asan Kushu.
I think they deserve another round of applause. They deserve another round of applause. The discussion has been very insightful, it's been very educative. We want to thank the panel. I want to thank all of them for the knowledge that you've shared. From the traditional perspective to the legal perspective to every perspective has been covered here, and we want to thank the UNFPA as well.
You made you. Thank you very much.
So there will be a photo session outside when we are done. Please, let's get seated and wrap up. Lunch is ready. We'll have an official photo session. Yes, please, let's get seated. Thank you.
let's remain seated. Let's remain seated. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Pardon? Please take your seats. We are not done yet. Please take your seats. Please take your seats and let's continue with the program. Please. No, we don't finish. We don't finish. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please. Let us please take our seats, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue with the program. I want to acknowledge the presence of Dr. Doris Agbelubichi, team lead for the Gender and Human Rights Unit at the UNFPA. I want to acknowledge your presence, madam. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for coming. I also want to acknowledge the presence of Gabriel Asante Bosompin, who is the GJA representative here and also a board member of NMC. I want to acknowledge your presence. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, gentlemen. Okay. So we'll now take our closing remarks from our director, Dr. Do. So a round of applause for Dr. Do as he comes to give us his closing remarks for this session.
Oh, give it up for yourself. Give it up for yourselves. Okay, so we want to thank all our panelists. We want to thank especially our partners, Dr. Chan and the UNFPA. We want to thank our chiefs and queen mothers who have left very, very busy schedules to be here. We have come to the end of the program, and we want to say that we are delighted that we were able to hold the first of such many programs. We have learned a lot. We've learned that we don't necessarily have to be antagonistic about our culture, neither should we be antagonistic about our rights. The two can marry themselves very well. Our culture can marry very well with our rights, and we can all coexist nicely. We thank you for all that we've heard, the panelists. We also want to urge that as we go home, let's not just hear it and shelve it, but let's also go and propagate it, and more importantly, put it into practice. I was telling somebody at the back of the house that if anybody ever came to my house to pick my 16-year-old, I'll chase you with a cutlass. Because that will not happen. Let's go and practice it. Let's push for national policy to include a ban on child marriage and any other customs that do damage to us as humans, as Ghanaians, so that together we can have a meaningful life. We are hoping to do more of such, so we'll be calling on all of you, our chiefs, our queen mothers, our partners, and the general public to support us. Thank you so much for being here. After this, we have a photo session. Please, we'll be doing it right in front, so please don't go away. We have a photo session right in front, after which there is a packed refreshment in the foyer for all of us. There's a packed refreshment in the foyer for all of us, so please don't go away. If you go away, I don't know what to do with it. There is enough for everybody, so please wait. So now okay. So now we can go out and take the photographs. Let's all go out and take the photographs. And then we come back in. The students of OCT, when we come back in, we'll be refreshed. And then we will then go and change or prepare for our graduation ceremony. Please, If you are here for the seminar, you can also wait and participate in our closing ceremony as we pass out our students for this session. Thank you all very much.
So thank you all for coming. We'll have the photo session in front of the auditorium. Yes. Okay.